Um, I've been fine throughout the pandemic. As far as training, I just made it a point to do workouts 6 days a week and not deviate from my normal training schedule. I had very limited equipment, which really just challenged me as a trainer to figure out, how to make these workouts worth my while, even though I didn't have the same kind of setup that I was accustomed to. But I really didn't feel like there was a lot of muscle loss or strength loss. It didn't really impact me all that much, I guess. It's Well, from what I understand, our state has been pretty tough. The regulations have been pretty strict, which for good reason. It's fine. I obviously my business is health, so I understand the need to be extra careful. Um, Everything was shut down 100% until, let's see, we had a brief time where we were open again in the end of October, and then in November again, things got closed down for another couple of weeks. But this is life. You live on planet Earth. You better learn how to roll with the punches. You can't be so, I guess, so fragile. You kind of have to figure shit out. So that's what I did. Well, my dad was a professional athlete. My grandfather was a nutritionist, and I started dancing when I was 2. So for me, just the physical activity and the love for nutrition came very naturally. It was always very much just second nature to me. I got my first professional fitness designation in 1997. I used to teach group fitness. And then 11 years ago, I was studying to get my bachelor's degree in nutrition science. And I, it started kind of getting more into heavy weight training about 5 years ago again, and had a lot of requests. People would say, "Oh, can I train with you?" Even just my nutrition clients. And I said, "Well, no, obviously, I can't do that. That's unethical." And eventually it just kind of occurred to me that maybe I should um, do the ethical thing and the professional thing, and just get that designation so that I was able to, uh, you know, have that capacity to help my clients with the nutrition and the training. And again, it's been a very natural progression for me. I feel like it's something I've kind of always done, just for myself. So it was a no brainer. The transition into lifting for me came pretty naturally. Again, yeah, of course, there's a lot of, your body adapts over time. So you have to go through that period of adaptation, which is true for everyone. But before I even went to high school, I used to go to the gym all the time and lift weights. It was just something that, I kind of gave up for a period. I had a baby, and life was, took me in other directions, but um, it always came really naturally. It's always something I've really enjoyed and really feels very therapeutic for me. So there wasn't really any huge transition. I never felt like it was something that I couldn't do, or, wouldn't just come back to me. It definitely did. Don't be ridiculous. You're not going to just spring up big muscles. That's just not in the cards for most people, without any kind of performance enhancers. Even, there's a fair amount of men that struggle to really put on appreciable muscle. So that is a non-issue. What becomes more of an issue is, once they get in the gym and they start lifting, they're like, well, how come my muscles aren't big? They have very unrealistic expectations. The muscle building is slow. It is grueling. It's never as easy as you think it is. And if you're going to be lean as well, you're going to see that your muscles aren't as, it's just not going to get big like you think, because it's hard without all that testosterone. So you've got to be genetically predisposed to it. Your nutrition has to be right. You have to be dedicated to it for many years. And you have to train smart, really. So that is a non-issue for women to feel like they're going to go in the gym and have this manly, muscular appearance. That's not going to happen. What is more likely to happen is that you will have, and I hate this word, toned. Toned isn't really a thing. You either have muscle or you don't. So that is the general outcome from lifting weights, is you have that more lean, pretty, curvy from muscular type of appearance, but it's never big muscles, and not unless you are specifically training for that for years. Well, I'll tell you this. So I'm 43, and I started modeling professionally when I was 18. And back then, now everybody with a cell phone is a fitness model, right? But that was not a thing 20 plus years ago when I started modeling. And I was a dancer. Like I told you, I like to lift. So I was naturally a bit more muscular. And it was a struggle for me to kind of fit into any of those, categories where, if you're a model, you're expected to be very thin. And even if I was thin, there was only so much muscle my body would give up. And at that time, I felt like, Jesus, such a struggle to be thin and do this. And it was more of a struggle then than it is now. I don't really think that there is a lot of negativity around it. I think it's become way more fashionable to be a strong, muscular female, almost to the point of it just being a fad. But now I think there's a lot more support, and people realize it's not that easy. It takes a lot of dedication and a lot of work, and I think that's kind of automatically gets you respect. There's always, the very, very insecure people, or men or women or whatever, you get an offhand comment about how manly you look. And for me, I take it as a compliment. If you think that I am muscular enough to look manly, then I'm doing a pretty fucking bang up job. I'll take it. I feel like I eat pretty normally. I eat for my goals, and I'm an Italian girl. So I was raised on bread and pasta, and I can tell you pretty much my entire family, nobody really has a weight problem. And although that is anecdotal, the science also supports, carbohydrates are not what's making people out of balance as far as what they're consuming in as opposed to what they're expending. So for me, it was really just a matter of getting into the habit of just eating for my goals. And I always tell people, I'm not big on like cheating per se. Whatever it is that you feel like you need to eat to keep you goal oriented, and this is all context dependent, it should just be part of your plan. I don't eat a lot of junk food. I like to bake. I mean, I'll try what I'm baking. I don't, I might have a cookie. I don't have 20 cookies. And for me, it's just habitual. You get into this sort of routine of how you eat, and you know that you need to eat, in a certain way for your goals, and deviating from it just isn't even a thought in your head anymore. And that's what I try to work on with my clients, is just, let's get you to the point where this is habit and you're not agonizing over it. And then it just comes very easy. So for me, doing this many years and sort of understanding the science behind it, it comes pretty easy. I eat, every couple of hours. I make sure that I hit my protein targets. I don't avoid sugar. I don't avoid carbohydrates. I just eat what I know serves me. And what I might be able to eat and tolerate is not necessarily what someone else might be able to do. So blanket advice, I feel like, is always terrible. Things always have to be looked at on a case by case basis, because everybody's different. We all have different genetics, different lifestyles, different, how we socialize. And, for me, I've eaten out twice since last January. Once I went out with my niece, and once for my wedding anniversary. Every other meal has been prepared by me in my home. So, I think if that might seem extreme to some people. To me, it's just very, yeah, this is what I do. So no problem. I am a very process-driven person. So for me, it is very easy to just feel good about the regimental things that are set up in my life, and just knowing that I need to do X, Y, and Z, to me is very satisfying. So I don't struggle in that regard. My goals typically are just, I want to, just be healthy. Obviously, without our health, life is pretty meaningless. I want to be healthy. I want to, whatever my personal potential is as far as fitness, muscle building, I just want to realize my own full potential. And I don't know how I'll know. I mean, maybe I'll hit a wall or something, at some point, that I've gotten there. But that's just always in the back of my mind is, I just try to keep pushing myself to be the best and do the best and the most that I can do. Motivation is nice, but it's pretty, it comes, it goes. You can't really lean on motivation. You have to lean on discipline. But my main driver, I have a daughter, so I always feel like, I want her to be proud of me. And I think it's kind of unfortunate when kids have to look at celebrities or someone outside of, their immediate family as role models, because I feel like that's what parents should be for. So for me, I always push, and I stay very consistent because I have, I have a little girl watching me, and that's all I need. That's all the motivation I need. Well, um, probably some of the physical things that I've had to deal with. I have scoliosis, and I have a very old, I'm not even sure when it happened. Think probably in my teenage years, compression fracture in my lumbar spine. So those things create a lot of muscle imbalances and issues, just with like chronic pain, and even just neuromuscular drive. It kind of throws everything off. So things that maybe should have come more easily or naturally to me, where some of that stuff comes into play, has been a struggle for sure. I mean, there was a time when I could not take a 40-pound straight bar to my knees, like a stiff-legged deadlift. I couldn't bring it to my knees without being in so much pain I wanted to cry. And those things have been very frustrating for me, and definitely an obstacle. You know, when you physically can't, it's not so much mental. That that'll throw you into a tailspin for sure. But you know, I've just furthered my education, worked hard, done what I can, and try to put myself in a position where, you know, these things are starting to get resolved, even if it's at 43. You know, just work hard.